Let's use the camera app. So if I tap on the camera icon here, it's going to open up the camera app. So if you want to take a picture, you can just tap on this button here, take a picture. You can also use the volume buttons to take a picture as well. Volume up, volume down, all working. If you long press when you're on the camera mode, you can see it's going to take a video. If you release your finger, the video will be saved. But if you want to continue recording without touching the screen, long press to start a video and then slide where the lock is, and now you can see I'm hands free. If you want to zoom in, you just get two fingers and then pinch outwards or inwards if you want to zoom out. If you tap on the screen, you can change the color temperature, how blue or orange. You can change the brightness and also the amount of shadows as well. You can also see 0.7, 1 and 2. So these are your different cameras. So 0.7 is the ultra wide, right? Take a picture, boom, it's the ultra wide. You then have the 1x, which is the main camera. With Google Pixel 7, there is no 2x zoom, but it does it digitally. So there is actually no quality loss when it comes to 2x zoom. But yeah, it's not switching the camera, right? On top of this, you have the switch. So when you use this one, it's going to flip the camera, right? So I'm now using the front camera. Okay, do a selfie, boom. Then you also have the rotate to switch the camera again. If you tap on a subject in the camera mode, this will allow you to have the focus tracked on that subject. So you know how with an image, I just put my finger here, there's the foreground, which is my hand, and then the background, which is everything else. If I just tap on my hands here, to always make the hand the foreground, no matter what, right? Doesn't seem to be 100% perfect, but that's what it does. So if we tap on the modes, we can switch between the modes, like so. Right. If I tap on the arrow here, you're going to have more options for each mode. So we have more light. So by default, if you're in a low light environment, it will automatically switch to night sight. Otherwise, you can set here flash, so you can use a flash. You then have the top shot. So sometimes it's going to take a picture, but the picture is going to house a short video. That's what top shot is. I think it's not great, so I just turn it off. You can set a timer here. So we have a 3-second timer, we have a 10-second timer right here. And when there's a timer, there's going to be a countdown, and the flash will also blink to show each second which passes, okay? You can also change the ratio. So by default, images are going to be taken 4:3. This means 4 down, 3 to the right, okay? If you want 16:9, which is a wider image, you can do that if you would like. You then also have the more settings. This more settings is going to group all of the settings for all of the modes in one. Because if I go to, let's say, video, you're going to notice these extra options here are a little bit different. So we have the flash, which is of course that right there, on or off. We have the resolution. So the higher the resolution, the better the overall quality, okay? So I just recommend you set this to 4K. But do keep in mind it will use more storage. You then have frames per second. This is how smooth the video is. So if we set this to 4K 60, you can see the preview is a lot smoother with the 30. Just take a look at that preview there. Maybe looks a little bit laggy. With the 60, it's going to look more smooth. If you're using the lower frame rate, you have HDR. HDR just makes the video pop out more, just more, you know, better looking. You have to test it out for proper understanding, okay? Essentially, it increases the color range of the video, first thing, so you're going to get more colors. And second of all, regular video has a set brightness, right? But high dynamic range, you can have a far higher brightness, so the darker parts of the video are going to look darker, the brighter parts are going to look brighter, that type of thing. So the videos are going to look better, more realistic. You then have speech enhancement. So this just removes, you know, the backgrounds, noise, whether that's, you know, someone talking in the background, whether that's, you know, wind or a train, etc. It's going to remove that. We of course have the different zooms. When it comes to recording video, what's unique about the Pixel 7 is you can actually switch between the camera lenses while recording. When it comes to every other phone, the camera lens you use is the camera lens you're forced to stay with, but with Google, you can actually switch. When you are recording, you can pause the recording like so, tap again to resume, and if you tap on this camera icon, you can take a picture of what you see in the video, okay? This also shows the stabilization right here. Stabilization is on. It just makes the videos smoother. When we're not recording, you can tap on the video stabilization to change it, but you cannot change it while you are recording. We also have here slow motion, which is slow video, okay? 1/8 speed, 1/4 speed. We also have time lapse, 5 times speed, 10 times speed, 30 times speed, 120 times speed. You can play it with that there. We then have the portrait mode. So what that does is it's going to make the foreground more distinct and the background more blurred, okay? So it's great for selfies. If you want the background, which is like this right here, if you want it more blurred than you get regularly, you can blur it using the portrait mode. And of course you do have the portrait mode settings. A lot of them are the same. However, face retouching, what this does is it kind of beautifies the face. So if you want a small or smooth, it's popular in Asia. Okay, it just makes your face more smooth, more pretty, less realistic. Up to you whether or not you want to use that. We then have motion photos. So this is useful if you are, let's say you're taking a picture and you have a bunch of cars moving by, right? What it's going to do is it's going to create a picture out of all those cars moving by, and you're not going to see the result here, right? But the result will be, all these cars blurred, okay? And you also have the action pan as well. And so action pan, essentially you can track an object, right? And it's going to create a blur on that object. This is only useful if the object is moving, right? Like moving constantly. Otherwise, you just want to use the regular portrait mode. And if we go to the action mode settings, they're virtually the same, okay? Aspect ratio, timer, already covered those. And then we have night sight. So this mode is going to take night mode pictures all the time. This just means if there's low light, you're going to get better light performance. But do keep in mind, Google on the regular camera mode will automatically sense if you need to use night sight. The reason why you go here is because of astrophotography mode. So astrophotography mode will allow you to take like really good pictures of the stars or the clouds, the moon, etc. Will give you this really high quality detail. But you will need a tripod, and you will need a phone to rest for about 5 minutes on that tripod. If you want to take a look at astrophotography mode, I have a video on that in the description. So let's go into the more settings here. So let's go more settings. So if you want the location of where your photos and videos were taken to be saved, you can turn that toggle on. If you want the shutter sound, so the click or like the shush, something like that. My sound effects aren't great, but if you want sounds when you're taking pictures, etc., you can have that on. Of course, if the phone is muted, you're not going to have those sounds. If you want Google Lens suggestions, so if you want to scan documents, scan QR codes with the camera mode, you can have that on. You then have the social share, so this is where you can share your pictures, videos. You tap on here, you can select which apps you would like to share to. You then have the buttons, so we see volume key action, that is going to take a picture, take a video, stop the video. But if you want to change that, you can do so right here. We then have the double tap action. So if we just double tap, okay, double tap, you can see it zooms in, boom, zooms out. However, if you would like that to flip the camera, you can just select switch camera like so. And then when you double tap, it's going to switch from the rear lens to the front lens. We then have frequent faces. So this is going to essentially, when you use the top shot mode, which I don't recommend you use, but if you are using it and it sees faces which are constantly in the frame, then it's going to prioritize taking pictures or videos of those people most. This is only useful if you use top shot mode and auto mode, and you know, you use the top shot mode tool. I don't think you need it, but if you like it, you can turn it on. You can then see the device storage here. So if you would like, you can see the remaining storage, how many photos that is, and how many videos that is. You can also use the storage saver. So what this will do is it will reduce the quality of your videos and pictures. It's not that noticeable, but you know, you probably want the highest quality photos. We then have here the framing hints. So this just gives you tips when you're taking pictures and videos. You can also add a grid. So add a grid, see, it's just a grid. You can also use the manual controls, white balance, exposure. So the manual controls are accessed when you tap on the screen. Okay, white balance, exposure, shadows like so. You can also select, if you want, full resolution pictures or medium resolution pictures. I recommend you leave it a full resolution, as of course you want the best quality. You see here, save selfie is previewed. So when you take a selfie, okay, go like this, you can see this is how I look, right? But when the picture's taken, it's going to flip my face. If you don't want that, which I think no one really wants in my view, you can just turn this on, so what you see is what you get. If you want video stabilization, which reduces the shake, you can turn this guy on. Audio zoom, definitely want to turn this guy off. What it does is when you zoom in the video, it's going to make it so, let's say I'm recording and then I zoom in, it sounds like I'm speaking further away than I actually am, and it makes the people who are further away sound louder than they actually are. I don't like it. I recommend you turn it off. It just causes issues. Okay, so turn this one off. We then have the advanced options. So show dirty lens warning. You can see my camera lens is dirty, so when I'm trying to take pictures, it did show the warning earlier. What that means is you just get your clothes, okay, just rub it like in a t-shirt, rub it across the lens for a couple of seconds and you're done. You then have the RAW plus JPEG control. This is for if you want to, if you're a pro, okay, and you do photo editing, and not photo editing where you just change some sliders, like proper, photo editing, Photoshop, you turn that guy on, otherwise you don't need it. Store videos efficiently, leave this one on. Back in the day, you'd probably want to turn this off because most devices wouldn't be able to watch this video, the videos you make, but nowadays the HEVC format is widely used. If you want the depth features to be saved so that third-party apps can use them, you can have that on. I haven't really seen the point of that. It does slow down how long it takes for pictures to be taken. If you want a time lapse for your astrophotography, you can turn that on. And if you want the flashlight to show up when you are using a timer picture, okay, so I do a timer, I flip, you can see the flashlight blinks. If you want to turn that off, you can turn it off there.